You've probably heard the statement that the eyes are the windows to the soul. And what that basically means is it's our way of connecting to people on a deeper level, connecting with their hearts and connecting with their minds. But how do you do that on video when you're connecting with thousands of people from hundreds, if not thousands of miles away? It's hard, it's awkward, and I don't know where to look, right? My name is Jamie Hain, and I am the Get on Camera coach. I help people stop hiding from the camera and start going live and embracing video. And most of the time, I will say this, most of the time, what I talk about is how to talk when you're going live and doing videos, what to say, all of the mechanics of that. But what we're going to talk about today is probably more important than any of that. It is about how you make connection, how you make eye contact with this inanimate object so that the viewers, the people who are watching your videos, feel like you're only talking to them because you are, right? I mean, imagine they're sitting there in their cars, in the doctor's office, at work. Maybe they're on their sofa or in their bed, and it's just the two of you, right? From their perspective, from your individual viewer's perspective, it's just the two of you talking. So how do you connect with them so that they feel that way, right? Okay, that's what we're talking about today. That is the point of this particular video. Now, what I want to teach you is where to look, why it is so hard. I'll give you some examples as well. And then I've got 3 tips for you, 3 ways to make it just a little bit easier. But I'll tell you, this one's hard and it takes practice because the first few times you do it, it is really awkward. But then it gets like anything else, anything that's hard is worth doing, and it gets easier and easier and easier. Okay, so let's talk about where to look. You are looking at the camera lens, the little circle in your camera lens. That is where you're making eye contact. It is an inanimate object. It is not a real person. Okay, so on your cell phone, it's this little dot up here, this teeny tiny dot. On your laptop, it's this little circle at the very tip. If you've got an external camera, hopefully that's a little bit easier. You can actually see the lens, but that's home base. And here's why that's important. Think about the last time you had a conversation with like a real person in real life. So maybe that's your child, your partner, your parent, your best friend, right? You don't make eye contact 100% of the time, and it's not a staring contest, right? We do not break eye contact no matter what. That's weird and creepy and awkward. Well, it's weird and creepy and awkward on a camera too, okay? So think about that camera lens. That is home base, okay? What I mean by that is, in natural conversation, you're going to look around and you're talking, but you come back to look at, let's just say in this case, your best friend. You come back and you look at your best friend in the eyes and you talk about some other stuff and then back to home base. You want to spend more time looking into that camera lens than looking anywhere else, but you don't want to stare creepily at it, okay? That does not make a connection, or maybe it's just too strong of a connection. That may be closer to the truth, okay? So that is your goal. That is your goal. Now, I want to talk about why that's so hard. I've said it a couple times. It's an inanimate object. It's a circle or a series of circles. And so it's unnatural for you to just talk to that. It is uncomfortable. So think about this. When you first go live, what pops up? What comes up? What comes up is your own face. Whether you're using this or you're using a laptop or desktop, your face is the first thing that comes up. And our brains tell us, oh, it's a real person. I want to talk to that person. And so we want to look at ourselves because it's comfortable. And heck, you might like yourself. I like myself. I want to talk to myself. I talk to myself all the time. I might as well be looking at myself when I do it. So your brain, even though you're trying to tell your brain, no, look at the camera lens, look at the camera lens. When there's a real person here, your brain goes, no, I want to look at that inanimate thing. I want to look at that face right there, that gorgeous face. I want to look at that face. So you have to train your brain not to look at yourself. It's so hard, okay? Now, I'm not talking about when you first start and you want to frame it up. You want to make sure your lighting's right. You want to make sure you're all set up. I'm talking about while you're actually talking. Don't talk to yourself, okay? Now, I want to show you, before I give you the tips, I want to show you what it looks like. So if you've seen any of my videos, or even this is the first part of this video, I have been talking to the camera. I've been looking at the camera. Camera is home base. I'm looking at the camera. And so it feels like I'm talking to you and I'm looking at you in the eyes. Now let's just, for comparison, I'm going to do an extreme version and then maybe a not so extreme. Okay. So extreme version, I got to think of a topic. I'm going to talk about my dog Otis. Okay. And here we go. Okay, so Otis is a mini schnauzer and he's super sweet and snuggly. But earlier today, I was on a Zoom call and he pops his head up over the computer and he's so cute. And I almost started laughing and he starts scratching at the, okay, do you feel that? Now that's obvious, right? Your viewers, that's obvious to them too, that you're clearly not looking at me. You're looking at something else. I don't know what you're looking at, but it's not at me. Now let me do one that's probably more realistic, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at myself on camera while I talk about it. I'm going to talk about, what should I talk about? I'll talk about my membership. Don't worry, it's not a sales pitch. Okay, ready? Okay, so I have a membership and it's called the Go Live League. And every month you learn one of my 12 core camera competencies. And you're inside the Go Live League. Every month you get a video or a couple of videos and a workbook. And then we have a group coach. Okay, do you see that? Do you see the difference? Now I'm pointing it out, so you probably are seeing it. But what happens with your viewer is they might not necessarily think, she's not making eye contact. They don't think that way, right? What they think, or probably more than anything, they feel no connection. I don't know about this chick. I don't know that I like her. I'm going to move on to somebody else because there's plenty of other people out there talking about stuff on social media. So it's not a conscious thought. It's an unconscious thought, but a lack of connection. Okay. You make connection through the eyes. Okay. Now let's talk about how you do that. When I've just told you, it's nearly impossible when you are given a choice of looking at yourself. Okay. I have 3 tips. Tip number 1. Get yourself some Post-it notes. I love Post-it notes. In fact, I always tell anybody, if I'm hard to buy a gift for, just get me like a year supply of Post-it notes and I will be happy for days. I use them for everything. Okay. So Post-it note, take the Post-it note. Well, usually it's easier than that. And guess what? Over your face. Put the Post-it note over your face so that you cannot see yourself. Now, if you want to level up, where's the marker? Marker. Draw an arrow. Now align that Post-it note with the camera lens. Now on this is an iPhone. It's slightly off center. Okay. And if this doohickey is in this doohickey, it's a little bit further away and I might not be able to see exactly where that camera lens is. So this helps me remember, oh yeah, that's where I'm looking. This is my viewer's eyes. This is the window to their soul, not what's going on here. Now, pro tip, I use these Post-its and I will make notes of the things that I want to talk about. So 2 birds, right? Reminds me, eye contact up here, and I got maybe some notes on here. Now, if you're using your computer, laptop, then you can do the same thing. You just got more real estate. You got a lot more Post-it notes. You might need a bigger Post-it note to cover that gorgeous face of yours, right? Or you can do something like this, where you take a piece of paper. Here are all my notes. This then leans up. And I have all my notes and I'm not looking at myself on screen. Pretty cool, right? Okay. Now, one other last thing before I forget. If your Post-it notes are not sticking to your phone, okay, this has happened to me several times. Typically, it's when I use these little guys. I like these little guys. And I will put 2 or 3 of them along my phone because these are the points that I want to make, maybe while I'm doing a live. And all of a sudden, I'll be halfway through and boop, 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 it falls off. Just means your phone needs to be cleaned. Screen wipes. The oils on your face make the Post-it notes not stick, and they'll randomly fall off. So always clean your phone if you're going to do that. Okay. Tip number 2. If you don't like the Post-it notes, I've had people say, well, it feels disrespectful. It feels disrespectful to cover people's faces, like on a Zoom call, right? They don't know that you're covering their face. And my guess is that anybody who's ever watched one of my videos, you've never felt disrespected because you didn't know until now that I was covering your face. It's not disrespectful. It is more, you're giving them respect because you're removing distractions and you're just talking just to them. They'll actually feel more respected, not less. But if the Post-it notes are not your thing, because it's just not your thing, then you can also get a picture of that person that is easy to talk to. Again, your child, your spouse, your partner, your dog, your best friend, and get a small one, put it up next to where the camera is. Then, rather than talking to this series of circles, this inanimate object, I'm just talking to my best friend. Makes it a lot more conversational, easier to do. Okay? If you really want to go crazy, scissors, cut out their eyes. I know what you're thinking. This is so disrespectful. It is not. And then mount the camera. So let's just do this just for fun. Let's say this is your picture of your best friend, and you're going to cut out a hole. Got to be big enough for the camera lens to fit through. Okay, let's just assume they're not a cyborg, but they have two eyes, but for this, and you're going to mount it like this. Okay, so you're literally talking to your best friend, literally looking at their eye, which is the camera lens. So option 2, I'm telling you, they just get better and better, my tips. All right, tip number 3. Find some other inanimate object that's easier to talk to than a black box with a circle on it. Now, I have seen people use those little suction cuppy things with like little cartoons, and they just suction cuppy the thing either to the phone or to their laptop. You know, the little troll dolls with the hair. I've seen people stick those up there. I even had somebody in a challenge recently put a skeleton behind the camera. So they were talking to a skeleton behind the camera. So whatever works, right? The goal is to train your brain and focus your eyes to the camera lens in whatever way helps. This one takes practice. It is hard. And the first time you do it, it feels awkward as awkward can be. I promise you it gets easier. I promise you it gets easier. But I still have to be reminded. I still use the Post-it notes and the arrows, and I still cover my screen because the distractions are too great for me. And this is just way easier. Okay. Now, next week, I'm going to be back again, and we're going to talk more about distractions, other distractions, other than that gorgeous face of yours. What else can distract us when we are doing live videos? Because distractions not only take you off course, but they can be really annoying and bothersome to your viewers, right? And if you're trying to make a connection with them, it's the last thing that you want to do. Now, if there are any questions, you can drop them in here, and I will take any questions and answer them as best as I can. I want to do just a quick review, and then I'll wrap us up for the day. It's a short one today. All right. So, number 1, the camera lens is home base, but don't stare at it. That's creepy. Okay? Conversational, more time looking at the lens here, and you still want to look around when you talk. Okay? Your brain is going to tell you that it's easier to talk to a person on the screen below where the lens is. So you got to resist that by covering that up in some way, shape, or form. You can use a Post-it note. Post-it note works great on either device. Use it dual purpose by adding notes to that Post-it note. Number 2 is use a photograph. Put a photograph there on top of the camera lens or near the camera lens. Way easier to talk to your best friend than the inanimate object. Or find something else that is just easier to talk to than a camera lens, like a teddy bear or a troll or whatever else it may be. Okay, I do not see any comments, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. Here's my call to action for you. I want you to go and try this. First, go and find a video that you've already done. Check yourself out and notice whether or not, as a viewer, you don't even have to turn the volume up. As a viewer, do you feel like you're looking you in the eye? You can even take a screenshot of it and look at it. Sometimes when we do that and we take a screenshot of it and look at it, we can kind of get some distance from it. It's not so personal. And we can look at it and go, yeah, no, I'm not making eye contact here. Then I want you to practice this. Take a screenshot of it, compare the two and go, yeah, I see the difference. Way more connection when I make eye contact with the camera. That's your motivation. That's what's going to inspire you to do this, because I'm telling you guys, it's hard. It absolutely takes practice, but it's one of the best things you can do to connect with people. For sure, no doubt about it. You know, this may be a really small thing, but it is mighty. It has huge impact and it makes a huge difference. You know, earlier I talked about the whole goal of doing any video is to connect and to make people feel and make people think. And I will tell you, I recently did a challenge inside my Facebook group, and some of the common pieces of feedback that I personally got from the challengers was that they felt a connection to me. They felt like I was there for them, that I was, they didn't specifically say, I felt like you were looking at me right in the eye, because we don't consciously think that. But what they said was, I just really feel like I know you. I feel connected to you. And there's all the proof that you need. If you can make your viewers feel something and think something and feel like you are only talking to them, then that's a connection that allows you to do everything you're wanting to do in video, right? That's how you build that know, like, and trust. And when people trust from you, they buy from you. All right, everybody. Until next time.